What's going on, social media fam? It is your social media therapist, Demetria Corlu, and I'm so excited to bring episode 2 of the Redirect podcast to social media. And again, got some fire for you all. So I know y'all need to have the pens and the paper ready because my friend here is going to have the sapphires, gems, jewels, rubies. Y'all know how that goes. But before we hop into that, I again want to tell everybody why I even started the redirect, because in therapy, when we redirect clients, we're introducing a new perspective. We're introducing a new way of approaching situations and circumstances. And so that is something that I love to do. I love to help people to detect, disrupt, and dismantle negative thinking mindsets and patterns. And I do that by shining light, showing love, and sharing tools and resources. So, with that, we're going to hop into this episode, which is entitled Ministry and Mindsets. And I know it's going to be fire. So, let me introduce our guest for today, which is Miss Rachel Booker. So, Homegirl got a bio for y'all. She is a servant of Jesus Christ. She's passionate about helping people find their kingdom purpose. Okay. Gifted in Christian curriculum development and teaching, and she recently accepted her calling into ministry. She is a seasoned public health professional celebrating 10 years. Now that's longevity. Now we don't see that too often now. So whoop whoop. Celebrating 10 years at the Tennessee Department of Health on May 1st. She is a graduate. We got another graduate of because I'm going to put some respect on y'all name, the Tennessee State University ×2, with her BS in Healthcare Administration and Planning and her master's in Public Administration. On top of that, she's a wife. She's a mom. She's a bonus mom. She is a finer, let me hit that again, a finer woman of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. She's a mentor and also a lecturer. So, with that being said, I welcome and introduce my friend Rachel Booker to the podcast.
Ooh, girl. Hey, girl. Hey. That was something right there.
I said,
That
oh,
man was
my friend got
thirsty.
the bio come through with it.
Girl, you put some respect on it. It looked real cute. I sound real cute tonight.
I love it. I want to thank you again because, as I tell everybody, you can share your time with anybody. It's something that you can't get back. But the fact that you're sharing a bit of it with me to put these jewels out here, I sincerely appreciate you.
Girl, it is my absolute honor. Anytime I get to share just a moment with you is like being in the presence of God. So I am just truly elated that you would even consider me for this. So thank you so much for the opportunity.
Not a problem. I'm like, girl, don't put. I look. I feel like the schoolhouse rock. Like I'm just a bill sitting on the steps. Like I'm just, girl. But the fact that I get to call you friend is an honor. But we gonna hop into it. So, as I created some personalized questions for you that I know is going to bless everybody as you give your responses. One of the things that came to mind initially that I wanted to kind of kick off our conversation with it is, what would you say are some mindset mountains that you have had to climb at times? Because I know at times as we grow and evolve and become, we go through different things that we have to uproot and we have to plant new things. So what would you say are some of the your mindset mountains that you've had to uproot in order to plant new things?
My mindset mountains. That is so it's so good that you asked that. And I'm walking in my truth. So I love this. My mindset mountains are clinical depression, clinical anxiety, and ADHD. They are mountains, a couple of them that I didn't know that I had until later on in life. But I have them, they don't have me. They are very difficult mountains, things that people go through every day that don't realize how difficult or how much they can control your life if you're not ahead of them and controlling them. But I do. But I absolutely do. And so it's a blessing to be able to say that with a smile, that though those may be things that I deal with, that they don't drag me through life. I'm winning. I'm sitting on top of those mountains.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good. So let me ask a follow-up to that,
Mhm,
because with you, as you so graciously put it in your bio, accepting your calling into ministry and just really aligning with your assignment that has been
mhm.
placed on your life, how would you say your mindset and your mental health kind of coincide with you doing ministry?
They're my mental health is my inspiration for doing the ministry, if I can say that. What I have to overcome is the self-doubt, is some of the negative self-talk that's just normal for every human being, but it may be more magnified for me, with some of with the conditions that I deal with. Um, but they cause me to have to cling to God even tighter, remind just being reminded to seek him first in all things, to just be reminded that he's not the author of confusion. And
Mhm.
though some of these diagnoses can cause confusion, just hanging on to him, really clinging to him and his word. One of the greatest things my mom ever did for me was to teach me lots and lots and lots and lots of scripture. And one of my most favorite, is Psalm 119:11, that says, "Thy word have I hid in my heart that I might not sin against thee." Without without the rest of the millions of scriptures that my mother taught me, had I not had that concept in my mind, there would be a lot of opportunities for me to sin against God by giving in to the depression, by giving in to the anxiety, by telling myself or limiting myself of what I can't do because or people can't do, or it's hard for them to do because of ADHD. So my diagnoses end up being my inspiration and my testimony for ministry more than anything else.
Oh man, that's amazing that you said that, because it reminds me of a conversation that I was having with someone. And in that, you kind of hit on like those limiting beliefs, that the negative self-talk and things like that. And this person was really thinking like, oh man, I really want to be a nurse, but I don't think that I can do it. And they finally get in the room to take the test, and they see other people getting up and turning in their tests before them, and that self-doubt starts to creep in, like, why am I not going that fast? What am I not getting? What am I not doing right? Because I should be done by now by the looks of the room. But then for them to eventually turn that test in to get that passing score, and then realize that some of the people who turned that test in before them didn't pass.
Girl, are you telling my story? Is it me? Am I the person? Because that has been me every time.
I'm like, man, because I love how you brought that up, because sometimes the circumstances and the situation look one way, like,
Yes,
oh, I don't, this doesn't look like it's gonna end in my favor, but yet
yes,
you stick with it.
yes, yes, absolutely. Absolutely, absolutely. I just realized that another scripture that has always really stuck with me is James 1, 2 through 4, and that's count it all joy. All of it is joy when you fall into various trials, knowing that the testing of your faith produces patience. And as you know, for somebody who has depression, anxiety, and definitely ADHD, patience, oh my Lord, is a difficult thing. But goodness gracious, um, I know that I can do anything. I know I'm not limited by anything. My learning may be different. The amount of time that at one point in my life, it took me to learn may have been different, like the test, being the last one to get up from the test. But you know what? Most of the time when I was the last one getting up from the test, I was indeed passing that test. So it's okay. It's okay. It's all motivation.
Yes, yeah, and I love how you have the scriptures on deck too, because as I was preparing for your podcast, the scripture that I was led to is Matthew 17:20-21, really dealing with the faith the size of a mustard seed. And so simply being able to do anything. And so I'm like, yes, Jesus, come
Yes.
through, Holy Spirit, come
Yes.
through. So I
Yes.
want to know next, what would you say was some of your biggest lessons that you learned that has helped elevate you to the person that you are?
Biggest lessons, let me tell you. I've honestly got like, I'm telling you, I've written down like a million lessons. So stop me when I get too far.
No, we give us all the jewels, honey, because we all learning something. I got my pen ready. I got my paper
Okay.
next to me.
Good. Okay. Well, you stop me if I get too long, because lessons. I just my whole life has been a lesson, and I just side note. I'm very thankful for this opportunity again because I believe that everything that I've gone through in my life, every lesson, every test, every trial, whatever it was, I don't believe that those were for myself. They are for someone else, for me to tell someone else about the goodness of God, but not only that, about how I actually made it, the practical steps that it took to make it. So let me just tell you a few of my life lessons, things
Yeah.
that have carried me along the journey. But um, first and foremost is remembering that in all things that God is good. He is not the author of confusion, and that any bad things that may happen to us or happen to me are either a test, a lesson, or an opportunity to get closer to God. Another lesson that I've learned is to choose to see the positive in every situation. Now, that can be tricky
Mm-hmm.
because you can't start seeing things that are not there. And an example that I will use with that is, you're in a relationship and your boo is not doing all that they need to do and is not treating you the way that you need to be treated. We're gonna talk about that on a different day, girl. But your boo is not doing
Right.
everything that they need to do and not treating you the way that God intends for you to be treated. Like, it's not okay for you to fall in love with their potential. That's something that's not there in the present. That's not there in the present. What you're seeing, what they're giving you every day is the reality. So you have to choose to find the good in the reality. And sometimes the good is, oh, here's a lesson. I bumped my head. And so now I have a choice to make it right, redirect, and do
Mm-hmm.
something different. So I like to tell people that when I say choose the good or choose to see the positive in every situation, because I don't want anybody creating any stuff that's not there.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do that. That's not the thing to do. Um, Another thing that I absolutely live by is that knowing in the end, because if we flip to the back of the book, right, we win. So we know that,
Mm-hmm.
right? Knowing that in the end, everything works out. So if it's not working out right now, guess what? It's not. It's not the end. It's not the end. So that is my hope factor a lot of times, or has been. I'm thankful to God. I was telling my husband the other day, I'm so glad that I think for the first time in my life, I'm not living in crisis from day to
Mm-hmm.
day to day to day to day. But that was a quote that I saw a very long time ago, probably over 10 years ago, that one of my god sisters posted. And it really stuck with me because I was like, you're right. Every situation I've ever been through, every situation I've ever been through always ends up okay. It may be bad. It may be bad for a long time. But when that situation concludes,
Mm-hmm.
everything is worked out for my good. Other lessons that I've learned is to be honest about my mental health and to seek help when it is necessary. I got to tell my church folks, and particularly church folks, and I got to tell, though this message is for any person of any color of the rainbow, but particularly my black folks, my
Mm-hmm.
church folks and my black folks. God made everything, including therapists, doctors, and medicine. So go ahead and use them, baby. Like, if that is what you need to be well and to be balanced, then take that. It is not a sign that you don't have enough faith in God. because we know that, particularly as a therapist, that mental health goes to the chemical level. In the
Mhm.
same way that we would never challenge a cancer patient not to take their medicine because they believe in God, it's the same way for someone who may be dealing with something in their mental health. You don't have any less faith in God because you take a pill. You don't have any less faith in God because you go see a therapist. It means that you have wisdom and discernment, that you need help beyond yourself. So those are can't forget this one. Another thing that I've learned is to have a why not me mentality.
Mm.
I have had a life full of traumatic things. There's been good times, but there's been traumatic things. And, people have a tendency to why me until they become a victim. And I refuse to be a victim. Why not me?
Mhm.
Because I'm realizing that in all things, everything that I go through, that God is using me so that his kingdom and he can get the glory. So people can see that anything, you can get over any mountain, absolutely any mountain that is faced in front of you. So have a why not me mentality, and also having a what can I learn from this mentality are some of the biggest lessons that I have learned.
Child, I'm trying not to run because I said, "Ooh, she just brought the fire." I couldn't even take notes quick enough. I'm gonna have to catch the replay.
Oh my gosh, I got more, but I stopped right there on those gems right there. But then I scrolled up my screen. I was like, "Ooh, I forgot a few." But yeah, those are, I did put them in order. So those are some really good ones that
Yes,
I've learned.
yes. Child, I'm still chewing on all of that. Like, oh man. Okay, so I gotta know which ones have you left because we
What did
need
I
to
leave
really.
behind?
What'd you leave behind? Because this is no lesson left behind tonight. So we need them all.
Well, let me give them to you, baby, because me and the Lord got in the spirit before this, because I wanted to make sure, if I don't never do this again, that I leave this stuff out there. But okay, so other lessons that I've learned is to resolve. And I think that word is important. Resolve that I will never have everything worked out in the time frame or the way that my finite mind envisions. God's mind is infinite. So my finite mind is going to miss stuff every time, right? So it's never, when you learn to have that resolve, to let go, to follow God as he leads you and let him handle it, you will be less distracted, less upset, less disappointed, because you have the intention of doing good. You have the intention of doing his will. You have the intention of succeeding, but you let him lead. Another lesson I've learned is to identify your triggers
Mhm.
and then be intentional. And I'm a big teacher of practical application, meaning, well, how do I do that? Get your pen and paper out. Identify your triggers, literally develop healthy coping mechanisms. So assign a healthy coping mechanism to your triggers, and do not intentionally put yourself in positions to be triggered by those things. Now, they're going to happen sometimes, right? So, one of my triggers is this struggle with the love of my body, right? So, one thing that I have had to stay away from is Instagram, because when I go on there, I see all that I'm not, and I see, and never mind that those ladies may or may not have been in the gym. They may or may not have a really great plastic surgeon. They may or may not have had any children. They may or may not have my metabolism. All of that goes out the window. I see everything that I'm not. I pick myself apart, and then I have a tendency to forget the fabulousness that I am. So one way to eliminate my trigger is to stay off that darn Instagram. I
Mhm.
fool with Facebook because I'm trying to make sure my people are good. But stay off of Instagram. Facebook is my way of checking in on you without making 92 calls. But so that's a simple trigger, but I use that because people do that so often. I know a lot of people can identify with those social media triggers. Another gem that I learned and I still continue to work on is managing my offense and insecurities. So I have to do this little self check within myself because I know number one, offense is not of God because he's not the author of confusion. And that definitely causes confusion within you when you're offended, either by something that someone says or what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second thing I have to do is ask myself, is there any validity to what that person is saying? Is that why I'm offended? And if so, then I need to go ahead and check myself and fix it, right? And then another part of my self check is to remind myself that other people's opinion of me is none of my business. God is God's opinion. God, what he thinks of me is the only thing that validates my existence and who I am. And then I also have to remember sometime after I've done my self check that I'm not part of the problem or they haven't touched my tender spot, then I have to say to myself that the other person's issue with me a lot of times is often a reflection of the issues that they have within themselves. It's a lot of self checking, and you've got to be so intentional and actually cause yourself to stop and do these assessments. That's how you master your mindset. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And another part B to that little jewel is to set aside time regularly to evaluate your life choices and patterns. I'm talking like if you've never done it, do it every 2 weeks, do it once a month. Think about how much time have I spent with God? How much time have I spent with my family? How much alone time have I allotted myself? And probably second most important to how much time have I spent with God is how much time have I wasted on self-destructive behaviors? How much time have I wasted doing it? And lots of things are self-destructive. You come home, you take off your clothes, you feed your family, and you just sit in front of the TV. Yes, some of that, sometimes that's self-care. But if you develop a pattern over 2 weeks that you've spent more time in front of the TV than you have with God, great opportunity to make some different choices. You know what I'm saying? So, a couple more and I'm done. Acknowledge that sometimes I am the problem. Just be real.
Sometimes it's me. I think Taylor Swift has a song that says that. It says, "Hi, it's me. I'm the problem. It's me."
I mean, I have gotten so much freedom from that because when you are searching for things in other people to try to poke holes in them because you don't want to deal with yourself, it takes much more energy to do that and just be like, it's just me. I'm having an off day. I'm not reacting appropriately. There's something in me I have to fix. So sometimes just acknowledge I'm the problem. The other thing is that I had to learn because I actually grew up, and this is another one we'll have to discuss in detail later, is I grew up conditioned to hide things that are eyesores, to people in front of you that don't present the happy persona. But you've got to stop hiding things because hidden things cannot be healed. Mm. And so when I stopped hiding things, I could be honest about where I was with my mental health. I could go to a therapist and not feel ashamed. I could hear the diagnosis and knew that there was hope for me because I could receive that my hidden thing wasn't a blemish to me as a person. It's just something to overcome, a test to overcome, and a testimony to his glory. Last and final thing, always make sure that you advocate for yourself. Be transparent with the people around you that you trust and love about where you're at in your mind. If you're feeling well, if you're not feeling well, if you need some company or you need to be left alone, you need somebody to be like, hey, this week is not going so well for me. Can you check in on me once or twice a week? Like, be your own advocate. Don't ever be afraid or ashamed to tell people what you need.
Man.
And tell God what you need.
Yes. He loves to hear from you.
Yes, he loves to hear from you. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yes. I love the intentionality that's woven in every single lesson. And essentially, we have to take what I call that internal inventory, as you mentioned. And we don't want to sit with self at times, but it's needed. It's needed as we grow and go and evolve into who we're destined to be, there's some
Yeah.
there's some work that has to
Yeah.
go along with that. And so that kind of segues us into another question that I wanted to ask you.
Okay.
And that question was, so in the midst of all of this and knowing your triggers, I love how you put that, because as soon as you said that, I thought about how sometimes us as women wear some uncomfortable shoes and we'll try to
Girl.
make a way to kind of relieve that pressure on some new feet that's not
Girl.
meant to be worn long term. But
Girl.
so as we are identifying how we're learning our triggers and being able to put uh different things into play so that we can manage that, one of those things I wanted to bring up was boundaries. So how did you develop boundaries in these areas of your mental health and ministry and mindset?
How am I? Honey, I am a masterpiece in progress. Okay. How am I? You get honestly, first and foremost, in terms of boundaries, I got sick and tired of being sick and tired. I got sick and tired of being the doormat. And you do the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result. You call that insanity.
Mhm.
So number one, it was understanding that what I've been doing up until the point where I recognized I needed to draw a boundary was not serving me. It was killing me. It was
Mhm.
killing me from the inside out. The other thing is surrounding myself with people who know my worth, who remind me of my worth, and who will not allow me to settle for anything less. I
Mhm.
am truly the person that everybody else can go first. Like whatever you need, whatever's best for you. Don't worry about. And it's like, no. And it honestly, if I'm being truthful, it took my husband to say, enough is enough of that. There's no more. So literally at the end of 2022, my husband sat me down one evening and he said, listen, 2023, there's no more little Rachel. There's
Mhm.
no more little Rachel. You are going to walk in the boss female that you are. You are going to walk in your ministry. You are going to walk in everything that God made you to be unapologetically. And you're going to stop saying sorry so much. You're going to stop accommodating everyone. And I love him so much for saying, stop accommodating everyone, including him. You're
Mhm.
not going to accommodate me. You are going to stand in your truth, and you are going to prove yourself or show yourself to be the person who is worthy of the acknowledgement that you are due. So it's important to be surrounded by godly counsel and by people who know your weaknesses and that make it their business to bring the best out of you. And then at the end of the day, it's also about just getting closer to God and remembering what he has for me and what he wants for me. He does not want he didn't want for me the things that happened before, I'd say 5 years ago. That wasn't his plan for my life. And so really I've had to do a lot of inventory. I'm a person who likes to journal because I've got that ADHD brain. If I'm just thinking it, I'll be thinking of fixing my life this moment and cooking dinner the next. And so I'm a journaler. So I write it down and I analyze and I make comparative notes. I do my pros and cons. I look at, how far I've come and where I still have to grow. Like it's truly managing myself is a business. I run it, I do it like running a business.
Mm. Mm. So, how do you self care?
How do I self care?
Mhm.
Girl, disconnect first of all from this as my grandmother used to say, this telephone. That's first and foremost because the telephone back in her day didn't have the internet and social media. uh, but now it's really the telephone. Uh, so, number one, making sure that I am intentional about disconnecting from that. Obviously, we live in a technologically driven age where, work expects you to do that. If you're going to do any type of ministry or business, you've got to be out there, be marketing your stuff. But there are just times where you need to decompress from that by getting away from it, disconnect and decompress. So that's one way. Another way is by making sure that I'm getting enough sleep. I recognize a lot of the times that my health conditions are triggered by a lack of sleep. So sleep is essential. Other ways are by prayer and meditation. And I know that in this 2023 world, meditation has taken on a lot of forms. But when I say meditation, what I mean is prayer is my opportunity to talk to God. Meditation is his opportunity to talk to me. So it is the space where I quiet my brain so that he can have the time to speak back to me. And that's essential because how else will I know where else to go and what to do? And I love this little phrase that my husband says now about getting hugs from God. But the meditation moment is where I get to get my hugs from God because he validates me in that place. And he says, good job, daughter, in that place. And, guides my footsteps, gives me, okay, we're doing this next. And I get a confidence and a peace. And an uplifting that's just indescribable. My self-care is also time with my family. I am so blessed to be married to my friend. I really like, yes, I really like that guy. I really, really like that guy. So, and of course, I love my children. But, family time is self-care. And then other things just for me, the other thing I would tell people is find the things that make you happy. Maybe it's, going to the lake or going shopping. I hate shopping. Please don't invite me shopping. But I love a good pampering. So massage me, please. Pedicure me, please. All that. Yeah, I'm here. I'm here for that. But self-care is all about stopping. Stop and close your eyes and think for a moment, what do I need in this moment? What do I need in this moment? So that's always the first question when in terms of how I decide which avenue of self-care I'm going to go to.
I like that you got avenues of self-care.
Yes.
I like it. I'm going to adopt that. My avenues of self-care. So I want to ask you some fun questions before we wrap up. And it's a little game that, I've entitled, What's the Move?
Okay. Oh, no.
Easy peasy. What's the move? So, beach or the mountains? What's the move?
Girl, the beach. I ain't climbing nobody's mountain.
Not even just sitting in the mountains in a chalet or something. Just
how did I get in the mountains? Because if I had to climb it, it's a no for me.
I got you.
Unless the helicopter is going to drop me down to the chalet in the mountain, or I can drive up to the chalet. But I still rather the beach and the water. I want the warmth. I want the sound of the water. I want all of that. That just makes me feel really close to God. So no, beach me.
Okay. So hills or flats? What's the move?
Hills, baby.
Oh my goodness. I thought you was gonna hit me with, well, it depends on what I'm wearing or where I'm going.
My preference is always a good heel. Now, as I have, Lord, I'm over 35 now, and I do not have knees like Megan. I am definitely wearing more flats, but it's a heel for me.
Last one.
Okay.
Dinner and a movie or dessert and dancing?
Dinner and a movie. I'm not dancing. You know.
Well, I mean, you may have a good little two-step, a good little line dancing.
Oh, now if it's a line dance, yes. Yeah, you get out there and Cupid Shuffle or the Wobble or the Bunny Hop or something like that. Okay, yeah, that's fine. But in general, normally, because I got my heels on, remember, I'm sitting pretty. I want to be cute.
I got you. I got you. I appreciate you indulging me in my little mini game of kind of
I
picking your
love it.
brain on what's the move. And so, kind of let the audience know, where can the people find you, Rachel?
The people can find me, first of all, if you'd like to email me, it is the personal growth advocate at gmail.com or on Facebook. It's a new baby page, but follow me anyway as I follow Christ because it's going to get good. The personal growth advocate is my page on Facebook.
Oh, awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, y'all heard it from Rachel herself. Please go like her page, follow her content as she is dropping these gems that we just so graciously got a glimpse of. Like, share, follow the Redirect Gracefully Lead Counseling and Consulting page because that's where the podcasts are going to be, as well as the link to YouTube. So, y'all make sure y'all go back and catch the replay on all these gems. Rachel, thank you so much again for coming on the Redirect. Everybody else, social media engagement, we love it. Hearts, likes, comments, all the above, because you never know, your comment may end up on the podcast. But until next time, we'll see y'all later.
Bye.